Hello everyone, welcome to the channel Unshackling Sudokus and Puzzles. Today we'll be featuring a Battleships puzzle taken from GMPUZZLES website. GMPUZZLES is one of the best puzzle websites and all the contributing puzzle masters there are very good at creating puzzles, and the puzzles that are posted there have an excellent solve path and a really artistic theme as well. I will add the link to GMPUZZLES in the description of the video, and it is well worth checking out. Also, I will add the online solving link for this puzzle. So if you want to try, please do so. The puzzle that we are featuring today was created by a guest contributing puzzle master called JinHoo Ahn. And before moving on to the rules, if you are enjoying the content and haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please hit the bell button below. We'll really appreciate if you subscribe to the channel. The rules of the puzzle type are: you have to place the indicated fleet in the grid. The indicated fleet is given at the bottom of the rules. Each segment of a ship occupies a single cell. Okay, ships can be rotated but cannot be reflected. So from the bottom indicated fleet, you can rotate the segments and place into the 10 by 10 grid. There is no problem. Ships do not touch each other even diagonally. Okay, so if you have a ship segment, for example here, then you can't have ship segments into these two cells, right? Because these two cells are touching each other diagonally and these two cells are touching each other orthogonally. So unless it is part of the same ship segment, you cannot have ship segments touching each other diagonally or orthogonally. The numbers outside the grid reveal the total number of ship segments in that row or column. So you can see that there are some outside clues given in the grid. So what they denote is that the total number of ship segments in this column must be 4, and similarly the total number of segments in this row must be 1. So these are the rules. With that, we'll start solving this puzzle. Okay, so the easiest way to solve a battleship puzzle is using the zero clue, which means that there are no ship segments in that row. And also you will see some wavy kind of symbols in the grid, which means that it is a water and you cannot have any ship segment there. Usually in some of the puzzles it is given, so which means that you cannot have any segment there in that cell. So then if you look at this segment, a square segment, you will see from the indicated fleet that it is part of either a 4-cell segment or a 3-cell segment. It cannot be part of a 2-cell segment, and a single cell segment is circular in shape. So which means that it cannot be oriented vertically, right? Because you will need this cell at least to orient this vertically. So which means it's placed horizontally. So we can be certain that this is a segment and this is a segment, because a square segment is always at the middle of the ship, which means that all these 3 cells must be blacked out now. They cannot be segments. So there is a segment here. Let me place that, and that can only be this way, right? This is the only way to close the ship, and you can either have a single segment here and one more segment here, in which case it will be a 4-cell ship segment, or you can have a 3-cell ship segment here and then blacken out both these cells. So we don't know it, but we are sure that this will be a segment. So we'll just highlight that to know that that is a segment for sure. So which means that this is a black cell, and we are not sure yet whether this is a segment or not. So let us continue now. So you have a single cell segment here, which means all these cells are not ships. And if you look at this segment, so all these segments cannot be ships. It is given this way. So which means that this is a segment for sure, and which means that these 2 cells can be blacked out, because these 2 cells are touching orthogonally and these 2 cells are touching diagonally. So we are sure there is a segment here. So let us highlight that. But we are not yet sure whether there is a segment here, in which case it will be a 3-cell ship segment or just a 2-cell segment. So this segment is there for sure. So we have done the basic steps. Now we have to move on to find something else. So in battleship clues, there is also this trick. If you add the outside clues, 2 plus 2 is 4, 3 plus 3 is 6, and 4 plus 4 is 8. 8 plus 6 plus 4, which is equal to 18. So we know that in a battleship grid, the number of ship segments, the total number of ship segments must always be 20. If you count the number of segments in the indicated fleet, you will see that there are exactly 20 cell segments. 4-cell ship segment and 2 3-cell segments. 3 2-cell segments and 4 single-cell segments, which give you a total of 20 segments. So as per the givens, we already have 18 segments in columns 2, 3, 5, 6 and 8, 9. So in columns 1, column 4, column 7, column 10, we can have exactly 2 segments, not more, not less. But if you notice column 10, we have already placed one segment. So which means that in columns 1, 4, 7 and 10, we can place exactly one more segment. Now that is really restrictive logic. So we can try to make use of that in this solve. But before that, let us look at these 4 clues. We need to place 8 segments, a total of 8 segments in these 2 columns, columns 8 and 9, right? So we have placed already 4 segments, so we need to place 4 more segments in this 2 by 4 area, or if you look at the other way, 4 by 2 area. Okay, so we need to place 4 segments here. But because of these 1 clues, look what happens. Let me take a ship segment here. If you have a ship segment here, let us see what happens if there is a ship segment in this 2 by 2 area. If you have a ship segment here, so immediately this cell is eliminated because they don't touch diagonally, and because of this 1 clue, this is also eliminated, and again ship segments don't touch diagonally, so this is also eliminated. So which means that column 9 has only 1 more cell left, and we need 2 more segments for the column 9. So this cannot be a segment, right? So let me remove that. The same thing happens if you place this ship segment in any of these 2 by 2 area. So let us shift the segment here. Let me place the highlight here. So look what happens now. The same thing happens. So this is not a segment because of this 1 clue, and these 2 segments will be eliminated. Again we have only 1 more cell left for the 4 clue. So you cannot have a segment in these 2 cells. So similar thing happens if you have a segment in these 2 cells as well. Same thing happens. Let us just see that visually. We don't need to do that each and every time. So if you have a segment here, right, this cell will be eliminated because of the 1 clue, and again these 2 cells will be eliminated because of the diagonal rule. So again we'll have only 1 more cell left, and similarly for this cell as well. So which means that this 2 by 2 area cannot contain any segments, right? So we are sure that we have to place 4 more segments in this 4 by 2 area, and this 2 by 2 area doesn't contain any segments, which means that both of these cells and both of these cells must be ship segments to get the total of 8. Beautiful, right? And also a small tip in Battleships is, in any 2 by 2 area you can have only a maximum of 2 segments. You cannot have 3 segments in a 2 by 2 area. Without the ship segments touching diagonally, there is no way to place 3 segments in a 2 by 2 area. So now we will continue with the puzzle. We can get some blacked out cells because of the placed segments. So these cells can be blacked out because ship segments don't touch diagonally. So we are not sure yet whether this ship segment is part of a 3 cell segment or a 4 cell segment, and similarly for this one. Okay, so now if you observe columns 7 to 10 closely, you see that we have placed so many ship segments horizontally there, and even if one of them gets displaced to the right, I mean displaced in the sense, even if we have one more segment to the right or to the left, we will be getting our 20 segments total, right? Because column 10 has already 1 segment, and if you have exactly 1 segment more in column 10 or column 7 maybe, we would have got a total of 20 segments. So let us see what happens now if any of these segments have 1 segment on the right. Doesn't matter which one. For the sake of argument, let us assume what happens if any of these 3 segments have 1 segment on the right, which means that column 10 has 2 segments, and which means that we have got a total of 20 segments. So what happens now is that columns 1 and 4 will not have any more segments, right? And these cells also will not contain any more segments because we have got the 1 segment here. Now if you look carefully, we do not have any space to place the 4 cell ship segment. Beautiful, right? So in Battleships puzzles, you would have to constantly ask yourself the question, where would I place the 4 cell ship segment? So that will often help in proceeding with the puzzle. So now if we were to assume if any of these segments move towards the right, then all the cells shown in yellow will not contain any ship segments. And now you ask yourself the question, where can I place the 4 cell ship segment? There is no way to place the 4 cell segment, because these two columns contain 3 clues, so you cannot place them vertically here, and these two columns are also ruled out, and there is no option to place it horizontally now. This is ruled out. This is a 3 segment max, 3 segment max, 3 segment max. So which means that none of these 3 segments can move towards the right. Superb, right? A big global logic. So which means we can blacken out those cells. So all these cells cannot be ship segments. So now we would have to use the same argument on the left side. Maybe we'll go one by one. So if this segment has one more segment here, let us see what happens. Let me maybe show that in red. If we have one more segment towards the left, I am using a different color because green is for highlighting surely shaded cells, or rather surely cells which have segments. So if you have a segment here, so again we can use the logic, all these cells will not be segments, because column 7 and column 10 have got 2 segments now, and we have reached a total of 20 segments. So which means that all these cells cannot be segments. And now, is that possible? Can we have this arrangement? You will immediately see that this is also not possible, because when you have a 4 cell segment here, these cells, right, become 2 cell segments. So I can remove these cells, right? We already got that logically. All these cells are not segments. So when you have a segment here, so we have one 4 cell segment and 3 2 cell segments. Now we need to place 2 more 3 cell segments from the indicated fleet. Can you place that now in the grid? Both these columns are obviously ruled out, and there is no way to place 2 3 cell ship segments in these 6 cells, because obviously you cannot place it here. Now you need to place 2 3 cell segments in these 2 columns, but the moment you try to place one, you are going to eliminate the other column from having a 3 cell ship segment. Superb logic, right? So all these can be and should be seen visually by us, but with practice you will be able to see visually. All the expert puzzlers out there will all solve this puzzle maybe max 5 minutes. They will all be able to see these things visually. So which means that both of these columns cannot have 3 cell segments. So this also cannot. Let me remove this. Let me remove the yellow color from here. So we are sure that this cell also cannot be a red, right? Meaning this cell also cannot be a segment. So let me go back to battleships now. So, right? So we are sure that this is also not a segment, which means that this would be a 3 cell ship segment, which we have deduced now. So this is a 3 cell segment, sorry. So, and we can remove the color from there. So we have placed our first segment, and we have also placed this. We can also place this segment. We are sure that this is also a segment, right? So which means that this will be a 4, right? I have to change back to battleships. Okay, so this is also a segment. And now the next part of the argument we have to use. So can any of these cells not be segments? Is that possible? So let us see what happens if any of these cells are not segments, right? So let me use maybe yellow color again. So if both of these cells are not segments, then all these segments are freezed in place. We have placed a 3 cell segment, we have placed 2 3 cell segments, which means that we have one more 4 cell segment, one more 3 cell segment, and 3 single cell segments at our disposal. Now with the, can you satisfy these 2 columns? Again the same big question. Can you satisfy these 2 columns with the help of those available segments? The answer is no. Let us see what happens. So we can have a maximum of 1 segment in this 2 by 2 area. 2 segments are not possible because we have used all the 2 segments available at our disposal. So maximum only 1 segment can be placed here. You can place it anywhere. It's just for the sake of argument. So let us place the 1 cell segment here. Now we have one 4 cell segment and one 3 cell segment. So let us see if we can pack that into this area and satisfy these 2 columns. I don't think that is going to be possible. Let us see what happens. We'll try to place the 4 cell segment here. It doesn't matter, any way you can place as long as you don't violate the outside clues. We just need to try to pack 5 segments in this area. You will see that is not going to be possible very soon. So we can place one horizontal 4 cell ship segment here, and maybe another 3 cell segment here, and very quickly you will see that and we need to place one more segment in these 2 columns, right? We have got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 segments in total, and we need one more segment which can be placed here. So if you look at this carefully now, this is again an arrangement which is not possible, because we have used 3 single cell segments and we need 2 more single cell segments which cannot be achieved by a vertical ship, because we have used all the bigger ships, and we will need exactly 2 more single cell segments to satisfy it, right? But which is not possible because we have used 3 single cell segments. So this arrangement is also not possible. So you need not place the 4 cell battleship exactly this way. Maybe you can try it this way also. It doesn't matter. The same arrangement will come, and you will see that you will be left short by one single cell segment when you try to use this way, right? When you try to think that both of these cells are not segments, this is what happens, right? If there is any better step that you guys saw in your solve, or any sharper step, do let us know your thoughts in comments. We'll be interested to hear that out. So we are sure that one of these segments is moving towards the left now, which in turn means that all these cells will be blacked out, will not be a battleship. So this is a big help to us now. All these cells cannot be ship segments, because we have proved that one of this will move towards the left, and we have got a total of 2 segments from columns 7 and 10. So now you will see, if you see very closely, you will see that 4 cell segment cannot be placed vertically, right? We have columns 5 and 6 which have 3 clues, columns 2 and 3 which have 2 clues, and there is no way to place the 4 cell segment vertically, which means that you have to place horizontally. And the only way that you can place horizontally is if one of these segments move towards the left, right, and become a 4 cell segment. Now the question is, which one becomes a 4 cell segment, and that can also be eliminated very quickly. So if this guy becomes a 4 cell segment, so let us see what happens. So you will have 2 segments here, and you need to place one more 3 cell segment, right? Where can you place that? It's not possible. So if you visualize quickly, if you look at this column, all these 3 cells are eliminated, and now you cannot place the 3 cell segment anywhere in the grid. We need to place one more 3 cell segment. So which means that this is not moving towards the left. This becomes a 4 cell segment, right? And now we can place the battleship elements. So all these will be eliminated. So we have got a total of 2 segments from column 7 and 10, which means this is also eliminated. Now we have placed quite a number of ships in the grid, right? Sorry. So this will be this way. This will be this way, and these 2 cells should be this way, right? Okay, so now we need to place one more 3 cell segment vertically, and the only way that you can do that is by placing it in this column. In both the cases, both these cells will be shaded. We don't know yet if it's going vertically up or vertically down. So all these cells now are not ship segments, so they can be blacked out. And now we have exactly 2 more cells to satisfy this column. We can shade both of them or directly mark the ship segments, right? So it will be, and this will be this way, and both of these can be blacked out. No, so this column is satisfied. And now we need to just think about placing the remaining segments. We have got 3 2 cell segments, 1 4 cell segment, 1 3 cell segment, and the other 3 cell segment will go here. So which means we will have exactly 3 single cell segments left to us, and we need to place that in these 2 columns, right? So we can place 2 exactly in this column and 1 in this column, right? So let us see how we can do that. Okay, this is interesting, guys. So if you look at these 2 rows, this 2 by 2 area can contain only one segment, right? Of course, I said earlier that a 2x2 area can have a maximum of 2 segments, but all the segments which are greater than 1 in length have been used already. So which means that this 2x2 area will have exactly 1 segment, and we have one more segment to be placed in that row. So which will give us a total of 2 segments for these 2 rows, which means that this would have to be a segment, right? Now which means we have placed our 3 cell segment also. This will be a square, and this will be a segment this way, right? So we can remove these and blacken out these cells. So this will not be a segment, and this row is satisfied now, which means that we will have exactly one single segment here and one single cell segment in this 2x2 area, and which means we have one more segment left which we can place it here. Both of these cells will be eliminated, and this column is satisfied now, so which means both of these, all these clues are blacked out, and we have exactly 2 cells. Okay, this row we have to satisfy, so this will be clue, and we have one more segment to place, and which we can place in this column. So with that, we have completed this really gorgeous battleship puzzle. The logic was really good. We can the eliminations that I showed you, or the logical arguments that I showed you, can all be seen visually. In fact, very fast. Expert puzzlers will usually see that in a matter of seconds. So, but with practice, we can also do the same. Hope you guys enjoyed watching me solve this Battleships puzzle. Do head out to GMPUZZLES website for many more wonderful puzzles of this sort. We hope to see you all soon with a video. Take care. Bye bye.